Welcome to Building Great Sales Teams, a show dedicated to making sales teams tick, tick, boom. Great sales teams are not recruited, they are built, block by block. Let's get to work.
All right, guys, so I got Justin Nelson with Sphere Rocket. And so, Justin, you came on the scene into Apex when?
Would have been probably January of this year.
Okay.
So fairly
Dude,
new.
you have made a fucking splash, I would say, to say the least, man. I feel like everybody that has heard you talk is now using your service for sure. And guys, like is doing some amazing things, and I love the word leverage. You use the word leverage a lot with VAs to take off. Everybody has those like $10 to $20 an hour tasks right now, and they're just bogging us down, especially if you're an owner operator, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're trying to make sales, but you're also like dealing with ad campaigns and dealing with your social media. Just your social media alone, I mean, just really bogs you down so much. So, but anyways, let's what I'd like to do is kind of learn a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Let our listeners learn a little bit about you. And then we can get into kind of some of the ways that you use that leverage.
Yeah.
And then talk about sales.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd love to.
So tell me about yourself.
Yeah, so Justin Nelson, 24 years old, been in the industry since I was about 16 years old. Started off as like an inside sales agent, marketing director for a real estate team out of Denver. Got my start there. Did that for a few years. Loved it. Ended up going to college for a bit, played some college football, decided, wait, I'm making more money in college right now, as a agent on this team, because when I turned 18, I got my license. I'm like, why am I playing college football at an engineering school with 99% dudes to go and make $60K out of college? Like, not that that's a bad living at all, but I was like, I'm almost making more than that now as a, 24-year-old, at the time 20-year-old, 18-year-old. So I was like, I'm gonna move out, of college and move into the industry full time. So did the typical real estate agent gig for a few years, and then it kind of led me to Sphere Rocket, which is where we're now with the virtual assistant. So
you kind of saw one of the realtors, or you were utilizing virtual assistants?
I was utilizing VAs through other companies at the time, and I wouldn't say I had problems with them, but I knew that we could, I know if I did it myself, I could make the process much more smooth, much more fine-tuned.
I guess what really made you leave real estate for this business? You just saw the open pasture? You saw the opportunity?
I actually saw a lot of miserable real estate agents, to be honest with you. So the problem with real estate is if you're not on the real estate investing side, it's really, really hard to have a true business. Most real estate agents don't have a true business. Like even some of your top agents, top 10 agents in the country, they can't sell their real estate business. Yeah. It's not really a sellable asset.
It's them.
It's them. And so and even if you have a big team, like it's very rare that someone wants to buy your team. Like, and even then the multiples are like 1x, 2x. And it's like, that's not a company, in my opinion, worth building for an exit. However, what you find is those top teams, what is the sellable assets are when they take money from that and then move it into investment properties. However, like 99% of agents don't do that.
No, they buy BMWs and,
exactly.
And spend all their money on drinks and networking.
Exactly. But like my coach at Apex is a great example. Brandon Brittingham runs one of the top 5 teams in the nation. But you see what he talks about most is how he takes his money and puts it into Airbnb and investment properties, and that's a true saleable asset. And so for me, I wanted to move into a company that I could sell, at a later time. And most real estate agents are stuck in a market. Like until for a certain time period, like you can't move out of the market. Your team's based out of that market. I wanted a company where I could go anywhere and sell a product to anybody, because I love being on the road.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's really awesome. Kind of the transition switch for me, at least.
So, we got on a call last week, and we were in Cabo a couple weeks ago for the mastermind, and you just kind of fucking blew my mind at how you could use VAs to leverage your business. And for me, it was the social media piece. Yeah. So I guess walk us through your social media strategy with your VAs, because most of the people listening to this show are owner operators.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We do talk about building your machine, and they do see me doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so the social media piece is a big part of their sales now.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about how you're leveraging VAs for your social media.
Yeah. So as far as social media goes, I only do one thing on social media, and that's I make Facebook posts. I have a picture and have long copy.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that is done by a virtual assistant. So when you look at like our Sphere Rocket business pages, you look at my real estate business pages, like business pages are all done by virtual assistants. All of our Facebook groups that we run or host, they're all done by virtual assistants. All the content, all the interactions, all of those things. My Facebook Messenger and all that's sorted by assistants.
Right.
Like, I mean, even just this morning, I think you messaged me about, and my assistant literally tracks me on my sleep band. And I think she texted you back and it's like, Justin's sleeping right now. So she called me and it's like, you got a podcast in 30 minutes. And so like I defer a lot of like those incoming messages through my virtual assistants.
You filter them through and maybe 10% of them get to you because they need to go to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my goal is with social media is I know if I make my one Facebook post with long copy, then what my virtual assistants do is they'll take that Facebook post with long copy, they'll turn it into emails, they'll turn it into Instagram posts and the whole 9 yards. And then really from that, now I know each week all I got to do is make 5 long copy, 5 pictures, 5 long copy. And then outside of that, really, what I try to do is as many of these as possible, right? The more hour or two long podcasts, stage appearances, YouTube videos that you can shoot, the more that they can then cut down a whole bunch of material, probably a lot like you do on yours already.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so my goal is to do the 5 posts a week. And then usually I'm speaking on stages a lot now, so I'll take that content and then that is everything else.
Yeah.
And so now I'm not really having to do any social media at all in terms of I'm just doing my 5 posts. If I do my 5 posts, you would think on my social media I'm doing hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content. So
yeah, and so the reason that I hired you guys is because, well, this was the biggest thing for me, and when it really clicked was you were like, oh, they can handle your friend requests. You can put them through a filter. You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm at like 500 plus friend requests, right? It's a nightmare. So if you have friend requested me and I have not responded to you, there's a reason, and it's because it would literally take me probably 3 or 4 hours to go through all of those. You know what I'm saying? And then I wouldn't even do it properly, even though it's me doing it, because I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting the Forex, I mean, stuff, the crypto stuff, you know what I'm saying? The spam stuff. And I'm trying to get through it all. And you can't just say, oh, 100 plus, I'll accept them, and anything under, because there's people that your influence has found that your friends haven't found yet, or they haven't found your friends, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, and here's the problem. What I should be doing is not on my phone on social media. What I should be doing is creating training, is expanding my operations, is recruiting elite people to my business, and having meetings and working with my key people and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But I'm stuck on this damn phone, like in it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very excited about what we're going to put together on my end to do that. And so so that's kind of an entry level way that other people can utilize your business. So let's talk about your actual company, and so then the way that you're structured, which I love, which is also the way that like Ryan Stewman's structured, and like Mike Claudio's is structured, Brandon Brittingham is structured. You guys are the rainmakers, from what I can see. Outside looking in, I watch, I observe. You guys are the rainmakers. You're on the road. What was it, 300 days a year, or something like that? Something crazy. And so you're basically going to different conferences. You're basically getting yourself seen. You're telling people about your business. And then that's the top of the funnel.
Absolutely.
All right, so walk me through that. What happens after?
So I mean, for us, it's all about 2 things. We use the VAs for a lot of this. So like, for example, we flew into this Apex meetup this week here in Scottsdale. And there's 400 people in the room, supposedly, or right around there. Like, my virtual assistants went online and figured out who was in the room. And so now, what my VAs did is they went and followed them all on Instagram. They followed them all on Facebook, and so now we just instantly connect with 400 people. And so really the process is to get as many of those people into our funnel. So we'd go out and we found all 300-400 people's emails if we could find them.
Yeah.
We put them into our email systems, and so now every time I go on the road, we're capturing the entire audience's worth of memory share. And so now it's just a matter of how many times can I do that.
And here I am shaking hands and kissing babies and getting like maybe 5 new contacts. And you've got 400 into your ecosystem.
I mean, and like out of a conference like that, like I don't know exactly who's all in the room, but but my VAs are really good at like trailing, right? So like I could see like 20 people posted on their Instagram that and they tagged Ryan in it, and then Ryan like he reshared it. So I was like, all right, those 20 people were there, and then I went on their feed and saw
there's
they
some
tagged like
eloquent arbitrage in there for sure.
I mean, it's not like Ryan just hands me a list and goes, here's everybody in the room, man, go and email them. Like, we have to be very diligent on how we go and connect with these people and follow them. And it's not like we're sending them text blasts, email blasts, and things like that. It's just like we're connecting them on socials.
They're just plugging. Your VAs are plugging them into you,
into my system.
Yeah, getting you in front of them again.
Exactly.
Think about it. They go and watch you speak. Man, I mean, you already just your story and then your age alone is like inspirational. You know what I'm saying? So they're going and they're seeing you speak. They're like, this dude's 25?
Yeah, just turned
25 years old, has a 8-figure company, you know what I mean? Built it in 2 years, you know what I mean? Crazy fast. But it's because you built it using your own service.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so anyways, they're at this conference and they may go and look you up and add you, but if they don't, I mean, it's got to be so cool to go home that night, and then there's Justin Nelson requesting to be your friend. You know what I'm saying? Or
following on Instagram.
Yeah, following you on Instagram or something like that. And you're like, oh, crap, this dude was just on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He runs a 8-figure business. And so right away, you're like, that's really cool.
Absolutely.
You know? So that engagement is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
So do you have people that, I mean, obviously you and I had a conversation because we're in executives, we have a relationship. So you did that sales call. Do you have other people that do the sales call like you do with me?
So I have 4 full-time sales reps right now on staff, because we do probably right now, I checked this morning, actually, we do like 345 sales calls a month. So we have about 345 appointments on our calendar a month, and so
so they're doing 2 to 3 each a day.
2 to 3 each a day. Yeah,
that's not bad at all. That's not like any crazy like. Okay, so walk me through that. I guess I'm guessing because of the volume that you guys do, they're all 6-figure earners.
Pretty close, I'd say.
Are they overseas or are they here?
My sales team is U.S. based.
Is U.S. based?
Yeah, so anybody you talk to on our sales team will be U.S. based. They live across the country. Everybody's in a different state.
Okay.
But yeah, man, they've all done 10K each month so far this year.
That's beautiful.
They'll all do 6 figures, and they're all my age or younger. Most of them are 21, 22. So
you hiring?
Yeah, always.
Absolutely. So if you're a lot of salespeople listen to this, you know what I'm saying? So if you're in sales, reach out to Justin here, because it's a huge opportunity. And so all your guys are remote?
Yeah, they're all remote. One's in Puerto Rico, one's in Dallas, one's in Utah.
That's badass.
I don't even know where the other ones are. One is in the Philippines, but he's from the United States.
So I'd like to walk through 2 things. One, the culture at your company and how you maintain that with them being remote. You know what I mean? And then the second thing is basically the sales process, right? So let's start with the culture. How do you develop that?
Yeah, so our culture is very it's very disconnected, which I think a lot of people are scared of. We really prioritize everybody. Like, a lot of companies try and not silo like different departments. We silo departments very, very well. Like we want each department to only really know what their department's doing, and again, that's like business like 101, what they tell you usually not to do. However,
that's in my head. I'm thinking about my company, and it's very integrated. It's very, but we're not near as big, right? So, we have probably 12 people on staff, something like that. So, anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we've really just siloed it out to where it's like this department, like our sales department, they know sales. Like I don't want them to know anything else. Like, I obviously want them to know the product and the offer and things like that. However, I don't want them in product development. I don't want them. And so we built this culture of silos. So sales is a silo, fulfillment's a silo. And partly that's because for us, it's different. Like, our sales team is US based. Our fulfillment team is Philippines based. Our marketing's Philippines based. And so our culture is, we build culture within our silos. But because they're all built on the same core foundations and principles, when we all get together, no one feels like we're out of culture or something's odd or different things.
Because you're all talking about the same things within their departments.
Correct.
And so, all right, this may get off track a little bit, but now I'm super curious, just as a business owner in general. So you got your silos.
Yep.
And there's like 3 or 4 of them, right?
Yep.
And then who's in between you and those silos?
Yeah, so our CEO in the Philippines, her name's Shireen, so she manages all the silos.
Yeah, and she's a rock star. You told me about her.
Yeah, okay. She's a rock star, and then she manages all the silos, and then each silo has like a department head.
Okay.
And so, to be honest with you, like I probably only speak to my team physically. I only speak to one person. It's only Shireen. I don't talk to anybody else other than my COO now. We have a new COO who's amazing, US-based. But outside of Shireen and the COO, I very rarely talk to anybody else in the entire organization. Like the other day, I was on a call with 100 of my VAs. I think I'd only met 15 of them before.
Yeah.
Like ever.
And then virtually.
Yeah.
That's not even in person.
Yeah, I had never even met them virtually before. And so we've just built this culture of like, just completely being siloed, which is just so backwards for most companies, but it works really, really well for us.
Well, and it makes sense because you have a company culture, but because so much of your company operates from the Philippines, it's a whole different culture.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like, and I can imagine you get on the calls where you got U.S. and Philippines, and they're trying to work together, and the culture is not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that I appreciate is our VA that we have, Nika. She adapts to us. You know what I'm saying? Because there's 11 of us that aren't,
of course,
that are U.S. based. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I do want to definitely bring her culture into the organization too. So, to really learn that part, and then she's going to be kind of our like, hopefully long term, get into leadership development, right? Hopefully long term, she's going to run all of our VAs, and you guys are going to train her how to do that. So I'm excited about that part. Okay, so on the sales process side, so how do y'all structure that? So I'm very simple when it comes to that: intro, qualify, present, close. Yeah. Right. So how do you teach that?
Yeah. So honestly, I've never taught any of it.
Okay. All right.
It's hard, man, because our product is so easy to sell that once we found experienced sales reps that knew what they were doing, that it didn't really take a lot of like extra training or anything on my foundational piece to create for them. So for us, it's intro call.
Okay.
They obviously explore our entire program. Here's your contract. And to be honest with you, we don't even follow up with people.
Really?
No follow-up. It's literally you either sign the contract or you don't. And we tell people that.
Buy or die.
Yeah. We basically say you either want this. Because the problem is we found in our product at least, like, well, let's take Apex, for example.
You know, if Drewby is listening to this, he's losing his mind right
100%,
now.
100%. And we've talked about it too.
If you guys don't know Drewby, he's the Apex or the Break Free Academy VP, and he is just, me and him are like on polar opposites because I'm the same way you are. It's like buy or die. Like this, I'm in front of you right now. Let's close. And then he's like Mr. Follow Up, Mr. Meme Game, all that stuff.
Yeah. So for us, like because the problem is if I have to convince you at a high scale over and over again that you need leverage, we find that you're actually going to resent it. Because then it's going to be our fault that you weren't ready for it, or So it's either
that's fair.
It's either you want it or you don't. So, and we always tell people your contract sits there, live and ready to go. So it's whether it's 1 day or 3 years from now, you need to talk to us again. Just go back to the contract. We'll sign up.
That makes sense. And because I was so like enthralled in being a customer, I didn't really pay attention during the call. Normally I will pay attention to your sales flow and in my own head be documenting it and breaking it down and kind of understanding what you're doing and everything. So when you have hired these salespersons, do they come from VA businesses or they come from other sales organizations? Most
of them have actually been my friends.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So most of my team is people I grew up with, and man. I mean, nothing. I mean, we used to headhunter for a few of our people that have now been there. But I mean, even my sales team, we only have 3 people on my entire sales team. So it's still fairly a small team.
Okay, so the job application is actually they have to be friends with you first,
Yeah.
hang out with you.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're vibing, and then you'll hire them.
Yeah.
All right, so when you're onboarding, what does it look like for them? They don't just automatically know how to sell your service. So
to be honest with you, we do no onboarding.
okay,
we do onboarding, but not really. There's no formalized training at all. It is
what the hell?
Yeah, it is.
This is opposite of everything I teach,
Yeah.
and I love it. Don't get me wrong,
No,
I
yeah.
freaking love it because I wanna hear more about this type of stuff.
Yeah, so we make them for 2 weeks watch probably between 50 and 100 recordings of other sales calls.
That's training, man.
Well, it is training, but it's not.
It's like by osmosis more than formal.
There's zero, like Justin said, this is how you should do this. There's really not even call reviews or anything like that. It's purely, if you watch 50 to 100, I'm going to throw you on a few test calls, and when I say test calls, we throw them into the fire. I mean, I don't like, a lot of times people sort it out and like they'll go, oh, this is a VIP client and I'm not going to let the new sales rep take. I don't care. You're going to be thrown right in there. I mean, you could literally be talking to the number one team in the nation, sometimes as your first call, and it doesn't scare me to lose that business if something were to go wrong. And so a lot of that's trust that they can see and that we've given into them. But yeah, man, if they can't figure it out after 50 to 100 calls that they've seen taken over and over again, then they're just not meant to be in our organization.
So you want them to be creative enough to derive their own sales process from those calls.
Correct.
And that kind of like qualifies them by the end of it. And if they're able to, okay, so they do all the calls.
Yeah.
They sound good on the phone, but they're not closing.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. We've never had a close or not close.
Okay.
I mean, they're all 35 to 40% close rates.
So you've never had a salesperson come into the organization and not work out?
We've had one.
Was that more like that was a different reason?
It was more of they were working another offer as well. So they were working another closing because some of our closers work multiple companies.
Okay.
So they will like work multiple offers because none of our sales team does outbound. They're only inbound.
Gotcha.
So there's no outbound. So if I don't get it on their calendar, they probably sit around and do nothing all day. So there's zero outbound reach by them.
That's fair, but after an event like this, they're blowing and going.
Correct. Yeah. So after events, they kind of
I do. We have incorporated that a lot more into our company now. On the operations side, especially. I mean, obviously, salespeople can come and go as they please, especially if they're 1099. I have W-2 salespeople too, but we're not managing them.
No.
We're not like on their ass out in the field and stuff like that. They know what they need to do, and if they're producing, then they're going to be with the company, and if they're not, we put them into a improvement plan. You know what I'm saying? And it's more of a natural one. It's not like formalized or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the onboarding, the formal training. So because my guys are entry level, and a lot of consulting that I do is with that first salesperson, that entry level. I mean, I've got the whole freaking system, right? And so it's incredibly formal. So I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, wow, you've managed to build out this 6-figure sales team, four people right now, and you've done it from what sounds like core values, and before you hire them. Okay, then let's go back to that because there's some magic in here somewhere, and I'm trying to find it. Yeah. Okay, so how do you know you want to hire them as a salesperson? Are they even thinking about this at this point? Because I know you said it was your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
2 friends. They came within the organization already, so they were hired up within. So that was 2 of them.
There we go. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
But they didn't work for the VA company ever, so they got pulled from a different company. And then 2 were found by the recruiters. So I mean, I don't even know really what their backgrounds were previously. And that's the other thing is I completely am out of. I've always been out of all the hiring, so it all goes through Shireen. So Shireen makes all the hires.
The CEO?
Yeah, the CEO of the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I want to get Shireen on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. She should do it. Yeah, she does it all, man. I mean, literally, that's the only reason we've grown so fast is I've been able to not worry about,
Dude, that is beautiful, and probably going to be the best point of this whole podcast right now is that you're recognizing you're the rainmaker. Yeah. You're the face of the company. You're the one that's going to bring in all the business and everything. Yeah. And so, can you be a CEO while you're doing that? No. Hell no. You know what I mean? And so if some of you guys are owner operators or you have small sales teams or whatever, your job is to, and it's not even replacing yourself. You recognize at a very early age that you don't want to be the CEO.
Yeah,
I mean, you're only 2 years in and you have a CEO already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, it's all about, if I'm doing the CEO stuff and building stuff, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
Well, and dude, like, when I see you up there on stage talking about your product, and what I love about it is you're not even talking about your product.
Yeah.
You're talking about leverage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And your product is leverage, right? But like, you can tell you're passionate about it.
Absolutely.
You can tell you love it. You know what I'm saying? And the energy is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like if you were the CEO, you'd be miserable.
Oh, 100%. And I still bounce back and forth in some of those roles, but like, I think I came from a baseball background. Like, I was at a baseball game last night, and I only think of one thing when I'm at a baseball game, and it's usually because I heard someone behind me going, "Baseball contracts are fucking ridiculous." Like, that guy's making like Manny Machado. Like, I was literally sitting in front row, and this dude's a monster. Like, he's huge. I think he made like a $241 million contract is what he just signed. And the guy's like, I can't even imagine making that much amount of money. It must be so easy. But when you calculate it, you're like, that guy's living on the road. I mean, most people don't realize baseball's like 172 games a year.
Yeah.
It's not like football where it's 16 weeks.
Yeah.
You got 172 games a year. And so when you take 172 games a year and you realize most of them play 80 to 90% of them, and they're not back-to-back days, you got 225 days a year on the road or playing 3-4 hour games. And so it's always been in my mind, like, if I want to go and make that type of money really, really fast, I have to do the same thing. I got to go live on the road 200 days a year. And again, not everybody's meant to go live on the road. We got families and kids and things like that.
Yeah.
But
you're
like,
25.
And I'm 25.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I also truly believe, too, that there is a point of sacrifice where I was like, I don't know the last stat, but how many MLB players have families and kids? Now, sure, could there a little bit probably a rougher relationship sometimes because of that?
Yeah,
sure, yeah, of course. However, I think there's a lot of good relationships still that exist in that world because they do it the right way, right?
And it's like you're saying right now, they leverage their personal lives. You know what I'm saying? And their people, their families, their key players and their families understand and they adapt. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
and that's what your company's doing right now.
Well, and it's funny because a lot of people like Coach. Like, I was actually, so there's this guy Brad Lee that Stuman's been on a few times, and he's a really unique character. Love the guy, but I think he says a lot of things just to change your mindset on things.
Oh,
so he said something really funny.
Just to be opposite.
Yeah, he said something really funny on TikTok yesterday. He's like, if you're out there complaining that your damn woman's spending all your money, it's not her problem. You're just not making enough money. He's like, if you're not making enough money that someone actually can spend it all, that's your problem. Yeah. Now, again, I don't think, like, there's obviously there's some parts of that, but it changed the mindset. Yeah. And so, like, my mindset where that kind of leads me to is in the baseball theory. Some people are like, well, I couldn't live on the road 200 days a year like you and do this because my wife and kids, and my wife works like 8 to 5 and then has to take care of the kids. I'm like, but what if 200 days on the year on the road, and I play kind of like devil's advocate. Yeah. What if 200 days a year on the road made you so much money that you could be on the road Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you were completely home, did absolutely nothing. Completely present. And then, oh, by the way, you can go and take 2-3 week vacations because of how much money you've made with your family, very intimate, without ever picking up your phone. For most people, I believe that relationships would be better that way.
Absolutely.
Rather than, like, because a lot of people are at home and unpresent. And a lot of people are on the road and way more present. I guarantee you Stuman's way more present than 90% of people. Oh. And he's on the road still probably at least 100 days.
I've learned a lot of how to be present from him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm dialing in my systems and I'm building a machine that's paying me when I am home. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, honestly, we got one of the biggest takeaways from what you talked about and this is something that, so 2 things I want to touch on. When I was younger, I recognized at an early age that I was not the best salesman at the company. But there was only like 3 people. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I knew in my heart that I wasn't going to be that salesperson that went out and just crushed it. Yeah. So I immediately started replacing myself. You know what I mean? And this is what I need a lot of the owner-operators that I'm working with to understand. It's like from an early age, you know, we all have talent, right? And so, and it takes talent to be an entrepreneur. Everybody thinks you can just start a business,
Yep.
and it's gonna work out if you work hard.
Yep.
No, there's talent involved, you know.
Absolutely.
And so my talent was replacing myself over and over again. I went from being the salesperson to the trainer.
Yep.
From the trainer to the assistant manager, from the assistant manager, and obviously I was always the owner, CEO, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I still had those responsibilities, you know. And then I was the sales manager, and then I hired Wayne, and he was the sales manager, and then I was the regional manager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then and the regional payroll, accounting, marketing, all that stuff. And then I just every time I got to the next level, I replaced myself. You know, and so because I'm doing that at another level now, I'm able to go home and put that phone down and be present.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Now you're going to help me out with that even more, because now I don't have to check the likes. I don't have to comments, all that stuff. Going to help me out so much with that. I just have to create.
Yeah.
If you can get in a position where all you're doing is creating and rainmaking, your business is going to fly like yours has 100%.
Yeah.
So, and that's so important, because you know, I got divorced about 3.5 years ago. And when I think about who I was during my marriage before, I was that owner operator, doing too much, thinking busy is good, right? And so even when I was home, I was there on my phone with my daughter, my son's right in front of me. You know what I mean? And that's the worst place you could be in. And you're 100% correct. If you're dialed into your business 4 days a week and you're present 3, you're present way more than all these 9-to-5 guys that try to act like they go home and they're actually present. You know what I'm saying? Or like the time away from work qualifies them that they're being present with their family. That's not true.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I know more people in my network that work, you know, Monday through Thursday. They work corporate jobs. You know, they make $250K a year, and they go home Thursday through Sunday or Friday through Sunday, and are the most like family-centric people. Now, of course, everybody's not built to be on the road. Like, not all dynamics are meant to be where you go live on the road. And I'm not saying living on the road's your answer. However, I think a lot of people just mix up. Like, oh, I can't do what Justin does on the road 300 days a year, and do, you know,
they have this
extreme,
preconceived notion in their head.
And so, but I was like, what if you just did one day a week where you got to speak? You know, because like a lot of times, like I spend extra time on the road because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna spend an extra day at this nice little resort. Right. So it's not like it's all business, but I'm like, what if you found one big speaking gig per week, and it's one day a week, right? You fly in because Stewman does it too. Flies out at 5 a.m., goes back by 8 p.m. Right. And so there's a lot of opportunities there, and I think a lot of people don't utilize enough bigger stages. A lot of us try to do one-to-one stuff. I promise you, I walked on a stage the other day of 100 people in the right room, made $500,000 in one day, and I only spoke for 45 minutes. And it's like, I used to be like, I'm going to go teach 10 people today, and then 10 people today, and then 10 people today, and it's like, just never, it can't ever compete with scale.
No, you can't.
When you're speaking.
And leverage.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that piece.
Absolutely.
I've been telling everybody about it. So, no, that's really awesome. And then I think another point is, you're on this grind, but not a grind, right? That's kind of what you're saying. It's like you get to make all those choices every day and everything. But I feel like as time goes on and you get better at this, you're going to be able to scale back the traveling and all that type of stuff.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a chosen grind.
And then, you're going to be able to exit like nothing. You know what I mean? If you want to.
Absolutely.
And so, like, all right, do you want to bust your ass, or what the world thinks is busting your ass for 10 years and then be able to retire, or be able to just invest in consults? Or do you want to live the traditional lifestyle, you know what I mean, and work until you're 55 and try and retire?
Absolutely.
You know? So 100%. Man, it has been freaking awesome. I'm really happy with the way this went. I feel like it flowed really well. And you know, the biggest takeaway being that from an early age, you were like, I don't want to be the CEO. I just want to be a rainmaker. I want to bring all the business in, and that is a rare individual that's able to do that, and you recognize that right away. That's your talent. And so I think a lot of owner operators need to see that, you know, and start scaling and start leveraging. So I know from this podcast, there's a few guys and gals out there that are like, shit, I need to get in touch with Justin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do they do that?
Yeah. Anyway, Justin Nelson, Instagram, Justin Nelson, Facebook. It is me talking to you most of the time. So my VAs, my VAs are in there, but they'll very clearly tell you they're a VA.
Yeah.
Most people think that I like talk to people like as if I'm them. I'm like, my VAs very rarely imitate me.
That message this morning was the first time that, like, I'm pretty sure it was the first time that one of your VAs talked to me. And then they did. They were like, hey, Justin's,
they'll speak about me in third
indisposed.
person. Yeah. He's sleeping right now. But yeah, so I mean, you could do any that way. And then obviously Sphere Rocket. If you just type in the word Sphere Rocket, SPHERE into Google, you'll find all our websites and you can schedule calls with our sales team.
Yeah.
And all those fun things.
So I met you back in January, man, but you've added a lot of value to my life, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
This has been huge for us.
Absolutely.
So thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Building Great Sales Teams. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. Remember, great sales teams are not recruited. They are built block by block. Until next time.